No, not like football. Intercepts. No, not like intercepting. No, like on the coordinate plane. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back to Unit 6. Today we're going to be talking about intercepts. So let's go ahead and get started with that right now.
We are going to continue our functions unit by learning about intercepts. So let's look at some key terms. The x-intercept is where the linear equation crosses the x-axis and the y value will be 0. The y-intercept is where the linear equation crosses the y-axis and the x value will be 0. That means where the line crosses the x-axis is the x-intercept and where the line crosses the y-axis is the y-intercept. In these next few examples, we are going to graph a line when we're given the intercepts. And in order to do that, we need to first complete the table. In this example, the x-intercept is 5. So when x is equal to 5, y is equal to 0. And when the y-intercept is 8, the x value is equal to 0. I knew that because in our previous slide it said that the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis and the y value will be 0, and same for the y-intercept. When the line crosses the y-axis, x value will be 0. Now that we have completed the table, we're going to use these ordered pairs to graph the line. So the first ordered pair is at 5, 0. So I'm going to take my point and plot it at 5, 0. Right there. Then the next point is at 0, 8. So I'm going to place my point there. Now that we've plotted our ordered pairs on the graph, we're going to use a straight edge to connect the dots together. And make sure that your line has arrows at the end because this linear equation, this line, is going to go on forever. Before we move on, let's talk about the definitions for the x and y-intercept. Earlier, we said that the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. In this example, the x-intercept was 5. So notice how the line that we just created is crossing the x-axis, so this is the x-axis, at 5. And the y-intercept is 8, and notice how this line that we created is crossing the y-axis at 8. So we can visually see the definitions for both the x and the y-intercept from this line. In this example, the x-intercept is -7, so again, our y value is 0. And when the y-intercept is -4, x is going to be equal to 0. So now that we've completed the table again, we're going to use those ordered pairs to graph our points. So our first point is at -7, 0. And our second ordered pair is 0, -4. Now that I've plotted my points on the graph, again, I'm going to use the straight edge and connect the two dots together. And there's our linear equation from the intercepts. We can double check our work to make sure that we plotted the points correctly by using the definitions for the x and y-intercept. So the x-intercept is -7, so this line is crossing the x-axis at -7. And our y-intercept is -4, so this line should cross the y-axis at -4. Let's try one more example together, and then in the next example, you can try on your own. So this one, the x-intercept is -8, and when x is equal to -8, y is equal to 0. And the y-intercept is 2, and that's where the x value will be equal to 0. Now that we've completed our table, we're going to use those ordered pairs to plot our points. So our first point is at -8, 0. And our second point is at 0, +2. So I'm going to use the straight edge and connect our two dots together. And there's our linear equation. Now try this example on your own. If you need help, you could ask your teacher to help you. This is what your table and graph should look like. when x is equal to 4, y is equal to 0, and when y is equal to negative 9, x is equal to 0. And your graph should look exactly like mine. In these next few examples, we'll be doing the opposite. So we're given the graph, and from the graph, we have to identify the intercepts. So remember, the x-intercept is where the line crosses the x-axis. So our x-intercept is 10, and that's where our y is equal to 0. And when the y-intercept is 7, the x value is 0. So this next example is a little more challenging, but you guys are smart, so I know you can do it. So first, we need to identify where the line is crossing the x-axis. So I see that the line is crossing the x-axis at x equals negative 1. That means our x-intercept is negative 1. Now we have to do our y-intercept. And I see that the line is crossing the y-axis at negative 4. That means our y-intercept is negative 4. Now that we know what our x-intercept and our y-intercept is, it will be simple to fill in our table. So when x is equal to negative 1, y is equal to 0. And when y is equal to negative 4, x is equal to 0. And we were able to complete the table from the graph. Now try this next example on your own. If you need help, please feel free to ask your teacher. How'd you guys do? So the x-intercept was positive 6, that's where the line is crossing the x-axis, and the y-intercept was negative 6, that's where the line is crossing the y-axis. So once we have our x and y-intercept, we can fill in our table, so your table should look like mine. Now that you have completed the notes on intercepts, you can work on the classwork for today. If you need help with the classwork or you're confused with the notes, please do not hesitate to ask your teacher for help. We're always here to help you.
Thank you for watching this video on functions. If you like this video, go ahead and throw us a thumbs up. If you love this video, go ahead and throw us a sub, and we will catch you in the next one.